Lie number one today. So, welcome to a mini mastery class. I'm going to do all kinds of these mini mastery classes. They're going to be somewhere between 12 and 20 minutes, somewhere around there, probably more, probably closer to 20 minutes for sure. But we just want to give you some bite size conversations about all the things that, or a lot of things at least, that I want to talk to you about in the coaching industry. Specifically, we're going to dissect a lot of stuff so that you are set up to win, set up to succeed, and really understand the depth of some of the things that I think you really have to understand. And the first mini mastery class in this series right here is the 3 biggest lies in the coaching industry. I'm going to give you 3 of the biggest lies at a deep level so that you can stop falling for them, hopefully. And in this mini mastery class, we're going to talk about lie number 1. So lie number 1 is, well, let me kind of back into this a little bit. There's so many marketing offers out there in the coaching industry, and it's really difficult for a lot of people to discern. It's difficult for people to know what they should do. And a lot of this stuff is going to apply outside of just the coaching industry, but that's the context that the majority of you are here for. So that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to put it in that context. It can be difficult to discern what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. Should I do this? Should I do that? And especially in this post-COVID world, there's so many options out there. There's so many variations of marketing programs or philosophies and methodologies and online courses and all that stuff. And so people get very overwhelmed with all of the options out there. I want to try to help you cut through all of the nonsense and all the BS and really go at the root of this gigantic lie. Because if you understand this lie, then anything that stems from that lie, you'll know is also a lie. It's fake. It's false. So I got to dive deep into this a little bit, but with it should come a lot of clarity for you so that you're not just trying to individually decide, should I go with this one? Should I go with this one? Should I go with this one? I want to talk to you about the concept inside of a lot of the offers, inside of a lot of the messages and marketing ads and all that stuff that you might see out there in the coaching industry. So here's the lie. The lie is that there are things called one-size-fits-all approaches and guarantees and turnkey systems and things that you can just easily fit yourself into. And there's a lot of marketing language that's really exciting for people. It really increases our dopamine. It's novel, so we want it to be true, but it's just not true. The marketing language, though, that works is turnkey systems, proven, one size fits all, any version of, I have it all figured out for you. All you have to do is plug yourself into it, and therefore it will work for you also. Now, the first question that I have is, if there was a system out there that worked and it can work for anybody, then why won't you, whoever's offering this system, why don't you just double down on all of it, right? So it's kind of like, if you know how to predict the stock market, why would you sell your system to me? Why don't you just multiply what you were going to put into the stock times 100? Because then you'll make all the money. If this is a guaranteed system that's going to work for anybody, then why don't you just go all in with this system? It doesn't make sense that this system that works for everybody, you're going to make all your money selling the system to other people. You just have to question, why is that the play? Why is the play that I've found a way to succeed in business and I'm going to give the secret away to everybody who's going to pay for me? It just doesn't make sense. Just at a conceptual level. Why would anybody do that? Well, they do that because it's actually not true. But a lot of the people that are selling the systems, they make the money selling the systems. They don't make the money following the systems necessarily. They make the money selling the systems. But what they don't tell you is If you have any ingredient that's different, this system won't work for you. But unconsciously, we hope they're true. We hope they're right. They're appealing to this unconscious fear that we don't have to risk failing. And so essentially what they're saying is, I'm going to take away all of your fears. I'm going to take away the prospect of you failing. And I'm going to give you this thing that you can just follow. And a lot of them say things like, it doesn't even matter how much experience you have. This will work for somebody that's been in the industry for a long time or somebody that's just brand new, wanting to explore whether this is something for you or not. I just watched a video the other day and it truly pissed me off. Like, I was legit angered for a long time because this guy promised me, his viewer, that it doesn't matter if I have no experience coaching. He's going to give me the keys to my dream coaching business. And all I have to do is just follow everything that he says. It's such horseshit. But the problem is people fall for it. And the reason we fall for it is because we want it to be true. There's an element of our brain that wants to be given the keys to our dream business, that wants to be given this turnkey system so that we can just plug ourselves in and get all of this money delivered to us. But I want you to understand what's at play here when people are saying that and when you might be falling for that. And I don't mean any of this to make it sound like you're dumb, like you're an idiot or anything like that. I don't want this to create shame, because at a neurological level, we all want these to be true. So we all have literally a neurological desire for this claim to be true, because our brain is constantly trying to preserve energy, money, time. And so if there really is a turnkey system so that we don't have to risk wasting time and wasting money and wasting failure or risking failure, then our brain neurologically wants it. So I need you to understand that we're up against your neurological desires. And that's why they sound so good. And that's why, even if we intellectually know this is probably not true, our brains will tell us to do it because we want it to be true. And so this isn't like a sign of how smart people are or anything like that. Your brain wants these to be true, and that's why it works. And that's why a lot of people still offer that. But here's what I want you to understand. If there is a system out there that you can remove one ingredient from and then replace it with another ingredient, then how important is that ingredient? If it can be replaced by anybody else selling any other things with any amount of experience, then how important is that ingredient? The answer to that question is not at all. If I could remove an ingredient of the recipe and replace you in it, then you don't matter. And the ingredient that I removed also doesn't matter because you're interchangeable. And in this context, that means you are a commodity. That means you can just be shifted for something else, replaced by something else, and you're so unimportant in the grand scheme of things that I can just take this other person or this other niche or this other product and just replace it with whatever bullshit you got too, and the recipe will work. So if you really attack the premise of these marketing claims, which, by the way, I have never in 18 years, literally never seen it work once. And I've not talked to anybody who's ever plugged into a turnkey system and have it work unless all they're doing is turning around and selling that same system, which is a pyramid scheme. That's all it is. Let's call it what it is. If I have to get in and then sell to other people the same exact thing that I bought from you, it's a pyramid scheme. I might as well just be removing the top name of the what is it called? Like a chain letter. I might as well just be removing the top name and putting my name on the bottom and sending it out to my 5 friends who are going to send it out to their 5 friends. And pretty soon I'm going to start cashing $5,000 checks. So the premise of this is false, because what it means is that if there is a system out there, then it certainly wasn't made for you. One of my favorite quotes, I believe it's been attributed to Joseph Campbell, is that if you can see the path, it's not your path. Because if you can see the path, that means the path has already been paved. So if you can see the path, it's not your path. My spin on it in the context of this is that if they can teach you the recipe, it's not your recipe. How can it be your recipe if they already created it? What that means is if there is a recipe where you can just put your completely unimportant ingredient into, which is like the lessons that you've learned in life and the mission that you want to accomplish and the impact that you want to make on people, just those little inconsequential things. If I could just take this person's recipe and this person's personal combination and all of their strengths and weaknesses and experience and desires and all that stuff, if I could just take all those meaningless things and replace them with your meaningless things, and the recipe works anyway, then how important are you and how significant is your stuff in the recipe, which means, are you actually in the recipe? And what I can promise you from all of my years of experience and doing this work for a long, long time, helping a lot of people do this, is that if you're not in the business, then the business cannot fulfill you. You can't be fulfilled by a business that you're not a part of. And so even if this were to work, that would be worse than it not working. Because it means that you would be succeeding in a business that you're not even inside of. And I should have qualified this earlier. This is for people that want to do something with their individual lives. This is for those of you that want to make an impact with the lessons that you've learned, or really want to transform people, like really genuinely want to help folks out. Because if you really genuinely want to help people out, then you need to understand individual people, because every person that you're going to try to help out is an individual person. So you need to have what we call client-centric confidence and certainty and conviction, client-centric skills. Because what you do with one client is not the same as what you do with another client. And if you believe that to be true, if each individual person is a new set of variables, then how the hell can there be a recipe that collapses everybody, including all of your clients and all that you are as the leader, as the coach, into a meaningless ingredient that's interchangeable? That makes you a commodity that doesn't matter. So here's what I believe to be true, and I really want you to operate with this belief pattern, or not pattern, but with this belief. Like the seed of this belief is that you are the most important ingredient. And if you know that you are the most important ingredient, then anybody that tries to sell you a variation of a commodity exchange recipe, is bullshit. It doesn't matter what version of this it is, because this doesn't exist. That species of animal doesn't exist. So then it's so much easier to go, oh, you're promising me that no matter what my variables are, you can just teach me how to succeed? Not interested. And then it doesn't matter how much the sales pitch makes you salivate, because this animal does not exist. And even if it did, you could only make it work by flipping it around and selling other people the exact same thing you bought. And then it's a pyramid scheme. So if you operate according to what I believe is the truth, that you are the most important ingredient, meaning that you need to be driven by the lessons that you've learned in your past so that you can teach other people what you want to help them with so that they can change their life, that's the most important ingredient. Your recipe starts with the most important ingredient, which is you. So if you ever show up on the scene and the recipe's already there, it's not your recipe. And then it'll be so much easier for you to realize all of this is fake. All of it is false. All of it is trying to get me excited about something and buy into something and then buy something that literally cannot exist. But here's why that's really challenging for a lot of people. It's not the way that we're normally programmed, that we are the most important ingredient of the recipe. We're usually programmed with the exact opposite, which is why a lot of these marketing claims actually feed our familiar programming. They make us feel comfortable because we're usually the one that needs to change anyway. We're usually the one that isn't good enough. So I need to get something from somebody else so that I can be good enough so I can fit into the right recipe that works if I'm the right ingredient. So that when we try these recipes and they don't work, then we think it's our fault. So then we need to find the better recipe that is going to work to overcome our lack of competency. And then we just get in this cycle where we think that if we find the right recipe, then we can have the right success. And I need you, if you want to be a transformational coach or agent or leader of any kind, I need you to understand you are the most important ingredient in your business. You need to master the skills as best you can in your skill set. And then you need to figure out the recipe that's going to work financially from a business standpoint and as an entrepreneur with your mastery level skills. And if you have mastery level skills, and if you're a human being that's learned lessons in your life, people want those lessons. That means your product is valid. That means your product is valuable. And if you have a valuable product, there is a recipe that will work for it. But how dare anybody say they already found that or they already created that for you? They're trying to calm your fears by offering you something that does not work. By offering you an impossible dream. So if you really hold on to this, then I hope you'll be able to resist any of those impossible claims. And then do whatever work you got to do to go, this is my recipe or this is my ingredient rather, and then let me figure out what the recipe is. And I'm not saying you can't take clues from other people's recipe, but the full recipe is not it. That's not yours. If they can teach you the recipe, it's not your recipe. But they'll get rich teaching you recipes that won't work for you because they didn't have you in it when it was originally created. So I hope that lands. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, anything really stood out to you. I appreciate it. We still have 2 more big lies that I'm going to teach you. And with the last couple minutes here, I want to tell you about a live event that we have coming up called Launch. It's happening August 29th. Through September 1st. It's a 4-day live event. It's in Frisco, Texas. You can show up in person or you can show up virtually. And what we want to do is teach you 2 main things that you need to build a successful, impactful coaching business. You need mastery and certainty in your coaching skills. So the first couple of days, we're going to go deep and actually refilm our certification program that teaches you the depth of human behavior and transformation and belief change and all the stuff that you need to really understand and change somebody's life. Those are the first couple of days. And then the second couple of days, we're going to teach you the main element of marketing and the main element of messaging, which nearly nobody fully gets, in my opinion, because too many people are trying to plant the flowers up on the garden or in the garden, but they don't really understand what's in the soil. They don't understand how to plant certain seeds. So what I'm talking about is the law of conversions. If you really understand the law of conversions, then you can apply it to Facebook. You can apply it to LinkedIn. You can apply it to different variables with your particular niche and your particular skill set. And you can really create something that can work. But if you don't understand conversions, you can't get clients and you'll never be able to build a successful business. So check it out if you want to. You can go to coachseansmith.com/launch. Be on the lookout for more of these mini mastery classes. I said they'll be between 12 and 20 minutes. They'll be between 19 minutes and 40 seconds and 20 minutes. That's really what they'll be between. And I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you soon.